like this. 3 new teams, 2 new characters, 8 reworks. That's amazing. This kind of feels like Sinister Six. So there's going to be a War Offense, a War Crucible, and there's going to be a Spotlight Raid team. Here are the characters getting reworks. Storm, Scarlet Witch, Polaris, Cable, Vision, Beast, Falcon, Invisible Woman. Now there's some to focus on more than others. Storm's going to be on 2 teams. Beast is going to be on 2 teams. And Falcon's going to be on 2 teams. The 2 new characters, which is going to be Jean Grey and Hercules, will be on 2 teams as well. So the Mighty, Immortal, and Uncanny. I just remember some of them are going to be on 2 teams. So the Spotlight Raid team is going to be on both. So every member in the Spotlight Raid team is going to be on this. So let's just go over that first. The Spotlight Raid team is going to consist of Jean Grey, Hercules, Storm, Beast, and Falcon. So those 5 characters are going to be on not only the Spotlight Raid team, but the War team or the Crucible team. So I think these are the characters to focus on initially. Let's just go over the entire post. The stakes are higher than ever in Alliance War, Crucible, and Raids. With big rewards in line, Nick Fury is calling on 2 new heroes that are reaching into his deep roster to form 3 new teams. Mighty Avengers, Immortal X-Men, and Uncanny Avengers. So this is going to be the Cosmic Crucible team, Immortal X-Men. In-game right now, you'll see that there's a bonus in the Crucible rules for Immortals X-Men. Can't speak this morning. Beast, Cable, Polaris, Storm, and with Jean Grey are the Cosmic Crucible squad, capable of rumbling with the top teams and winning in the favor of living tribunal. The Prince of Power, Hercules, joins the fight with Invisible Woman, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and Falcon for the Mighty Avengers and a War Offense team. I gotta tell you, Jean Grey's kit looks bonkers, by the way. Uncanny Avengers are an all-star squad with big names for the first 2 teams, Jean Grey, Hercules, Storm, Beast, and Falcon. Their special mission will be a Spotlight Raid that's coming to your way in the future. We'll have all the details on the raid and upcoming blog, but today let's dive into the new faces and the big updates heading to your roster. So 2 questions and 2 answers. Here are going to be the uniques for the 2 new characters and the reworks in the massive stat increases should be in game on the 19th. Let's go to Jean Grey. Support for the Mortal X-Men and the Uncanny Avengers, and she possesses high health to keep her in the fight. Uses telepathic powers to shield her allies. Dad jokes are rad jokes. Come on, man. While also manipulating enemy abilities, Gino applies barrier on spawn to Avenger and X-Men allies, and she applies ability block with her special and ultimate abilities. In Cosmic Crucible and Raids, her power grows as on spawn. She also applies Safeguard to herself, and her respective teams reduce the starting ability energy for enemies by 10, which seems super bonkers. So knocking down ability energy is better than ability block. That's the way to look at it. It's better than ability block. With 4 or more Immortal X-Men allies in Crucible or 4 or more Uncanny Avengers allies in Raids, enemies can't gain taunt before she takes a turn. That's going to stop pre-taunting takes. Enemies can't fill or reduce speed bar for themselves, allies, or enemies except through normal means. So we already see this with like Captain Britain. Well, now we're getting another character. This is a very powerful effect. We're seeing this like on Zombie Scarlet Witch in War, Gladiator Arena, Captain Britain inside of Crucible, and now we're going to get it again. We'll go over the passive to get some of the details. Hero, Global, Mutant, Support, Immortal X-Men, Uncanny Avengers, speed of 129. Very good. We're going to go down to the passive first. And so much for short kits. Non-spawn. Apply defense up to self and all X-Men Avenger allies. Bury yourself and all X-Men Avengers for 30% of the character's max health on spawn on Crucible offense. So this is Crucible offense. This character has 4 more mortal X-Men allies. Reduce the starting ability energy on each enemy special ability by 10. This is going to be interesting. Super interesting. Apply safeguard to self and all immortal X-Men allies. In spawn, in raid, so this is going to be mostly used in the spotlight, right? This character has 4 more Uncanny Avenger allies. Reduce the starting ability energy of each enemy special by 10. Nice. Apply safeguard to self and all Uncanny Avengers on Crucible offense. This character has 4 more Immortal X-Men allies, or in raids, if this character has 4 more Uncanny Avenger allies. Before this character takes a turn, enemy cannot gain taunt, and this is kind of bonkers. Enemies cannot reduce or fill speed bar for themselves, allies, or enemies does not apply to speed bar gain through normal means. I guess I forgot about North Star. North Star does this in raids also. So this is an insanely powerful mechanic, shutting down, important characters like Super Skrull. I mean, Super Skrull is just like the best example. Super Skrull's brute force is mostly based around gating speed bar. So let's go to the ultimate 2-4. Attack all enemies for piercing, apply 2 bleed, clear revive once. It's going to be good in multiple game modes, right? Obviously, apply ability block for 2 turns, primary target. This attack gains a lot of extra focus, and enemies cannot be revived when they're killed by this attack. Clear revive once is fantastic. Kind of late in the match, though. Maybe it'll still be used, right? Special 5/5, attacking all enemies. Prolong the duration of all negative effects for all enemies by 1. Apply the following negative effects for 2 turns, all enemies. Defense down, heal block, and disrupted. This attack gains extra focus in Crucible. Reduce the speed bar of all enemies by 25%. So this is a double whammy. And hopefully this works correctly when it's paired with the passive, right? I mean, this is just going to give tremendous turn meter advantage. Safeguard for 2 turns on all Immortal X-Men allies. This character has 3 more Immortal X-Men allies. This cannot miss and cannot be blocked or counterattacked. So, in raids, character has 3 more Uncanny Avenger allies. This attack cannot miss and cannot be blocked or counterattacked. And then the basic is pretty straightforward. Also, this is going to be important because generally this is the only place that we have this ISO 8 counterattack assist information. It's not found in-game nor on MSF.gg. Hopefully that changes someday. I don't know. Pretty straightforward. So, raids, Cosmic Crucible offense. Okay. And then we'll be on the same team as Hercules. Hercules is going to be war offense and then also raids. There we go. So let's go to the Hercules kit. With strength of the gods and pecs like a mountain range. Woof. Hercules stands strong, protector of the mighty Avenger, war offense, and Uncanny Avengers, which is going to be the raid team, specifically going to be needed in the spotlights. On top of keeping his allies in the fight, he hinders enemies. His basic ability denies enemies of being revived. And his special applies ability block when flipping negative effects into positive effects for his mighty and uncanny Avenger allies. But Hercules truly flexes. Ooh, flexes. Oh, they got all kinds of references here. I love this. With his passive on war offense and in raids, Hercules not only clear charge and revive once, also copy and clear all positive effects for his abilities. The power extends to his mighty and uncanny Avenger allies in their respective game modes, transforming each ally into a warrior befitting worship on Olympus. Okay, 126, Hero Global Protector, Mighty Avenger, Uncanny Avenger. Let's go to his passive first. In raids on spawn, Safeguard, 2 turns to self and all Uncanny Avenger allies. If this character has 3 or more mystic enemies, fill speed bar of self and all Uncanny Avengers by 20%. Very nice. So this is going to be kind of like Lizard is really good. So this is going to be, an anti-mystic mechanic. I like that. Lizard has it against Spider-Verse. And war offense on spawn, apply safeguard for 2 turns and all mighty Avenger allies. If this character has 3 or more mystic enemies, again, there's an anti-mystic thing that's great. Fill speed bar for self and all mighty Avenger allies by 20%. And so this is going to be a war offense mechanic. Whenever the character takes an action before the attack on target, clear all charge, anti-charge, boy. If you can get through that, like there's a lot of characters that are dependent on charge, like Black Knight, but he's got super high resistance, and we'll have to take a look to see if that would matter or not. We'll have to see. Copy and clear all positive effects, including stealth, and copy, clear, revive. Once. In raids, if this character's alive, it has 4 more Uncanny Avenger allies. An Uncanny Avenger ally performs these actions on their target before taking an action, except they do not copy taunt. On war offense, if this character is alive and has 4 more Mighty Avenger allies, a Mighty Avenger ally performs these actions on their target before taking an action, except they do not copy taunt. Oh boy. So the whole team is going to do this. Wow. In raids, if this character has 4 more Uncanny Avenger allies. On war offense, if this character has 4 more Mighty Avenger allies, enemies cannot fill speed bar for themselves or allies. This does not apply for speed bar through normal means. So this is going to be in war as well. Right now we've got Scarlet Witch that does something similar when she is above 50% health. Gain focus. Mighty Avenger and Uncanny Avengers gain a ton of focus. Let's go to the ultimate. Long cooldown, gain offense up for 2 turns, attack all enemies, and rain, reduce speed bar. Attack is unavoidable. This is kind of not great, but okay, whatever. 5/5, so this is going to go off right away. Attack primary target and adjacent targets for damage, drain, apply defense down, apply ability block and disrupted to primary target, apply offense up for 2 turns and self. All allies. Flip all negative effects and positive effects and all Mighty Avenger and Uncanny Avenger allies. And then here is the ISO information, which again can't be found anyway. So I'm mostly interested myself in Jean Grey. I prefer Crucible anyways, but they're both going to be useful in raids. Now let's get into the reworks, and I'm not going to get too much into this. I feel like the best way to approach this is to wait until the 19th and it'll be in game. My understanding is that calculating this can be tricky, but these are massive, and I mean massive stat increases across all 8 characters. And the 3 to focus on initially is going to be Storm, Beast, and Falcon, because they're going to be useful in not only raids, but their respective Crucible or War offense team. So, Cabal, Cable, not Cabal, Cable. I'm always going to butcher that. Cable already has a somewhat useful passive, right? Turn meter on spawn. So, massive stat increases. Ultimate, basically, if as Jean Grey's on the ally, flip 2 positive effects and negative effects on primary target. Fill speed bar for self, random Deadpool ally, and random Jean Grey ally. I feel like all they do on reworks is if there was a specific way of doing something, they relax that, or they add the team name, or they make it work with another character. That makes combat QA testing easier for them, because then they don't have to worry about unusual game-breaking mechanics, because it's already proven to work in at least one game mode. So it's just a simpler, if you will, lazier way of doing it. Flip 2 negative effects and positive effects, unavoidable and cannot be blocked. This is also something that they just add in a lot of different places. Polaris. So these 2 characters are just going to be like one game mode characters. Immortal X-Men. Boom, 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 boom. Reverse polarity, so this is kind of like the Magneto, suck everybody together. Also, what is it? Void Knight has that as well. So pulls them all together. If Jean Grey or multiple men gain extra focus to flip regeneration to bleed, unavoidable and cannot be counterattacked. So they changed the passive, and they did this also with Photon, where they removed it from being a generic health and focus boost. They just removed it from her kit, and then they compensated X Factor. So it's not that the X Factor is getting like a rework. Well, they're getting the bonuses that they would have been if they were on a complete X Factor team. And so this is going to be at the very bottom, but just when we get to the very bottom, we'll see that. So the way that it had was that non-summoned X Factor gained barrier, non-summoned X Factor gained focus. So they're going to change that. Polaris used to give max health and focus on war offense to herself and X4 allies. We've removed the max health and focus from her KIF and have added those bonuses to Longshot, Shatterstar, and Multiple Man. So there was something like this that they did recently. So this, I guess, makes the team slightly more prescriptive. Fine. I believe they had to do that to prevent us from mixing and matching too much, and we have to use our 5 members. All right. On self or ally crit, remove all deflect from most injured non-summon enemy on offense before this character takes a turn. This character and allies cannot gain defense down. Nice. Crucible offense, lower the crit chance of all enemies by 25. And that's the respective team right there, up to a maximum of 100%. Now, this is a thing right here where a lot of teams have been crit dependent, and like you'll see teams where most of the team has Raider to take advantage of this. And so I was thinking about, it was like, oh, they're going to introduce some anti-crit mechanics going forward. Well, here you go. Or make them on the new current team. So Polaris will be doing that. Let's keep going. Storm. All right, Storm is going to be used not only in the raids. So this is one character that I'm going to be focusing on. And I actually really like what they did with Storm's kit. Again, massive stat increases. Basic has attack agent target, adjacent targets. And then they made this where it's not tied to beast. Now the special, so it used to work. Well, I'll just read it. It used to work that you had to choose between the special and the ultimate, either do some cool stuff with the special, and most of the time I think we chose the special, or do a lot of damage. And so that her damage really ramps up when she has like 20 charges. I mean, this should be pretty bonkers with the stat increases. Storm special was really designed as an alternate ability to use charges, right? For her ultimate, you could deal tremendous damage. If you use the special, you could gamble on getting multiple stuns. So they're going to make the special better, but not tied to charges. It's always ended up feeling like Storm had 2 abilities, her basic and whatever the other 2 that you had to choose. You had to choose, which also made her not as good on like auto mode. You had to actually kind of think about Storm, which I liked. Decided to completely rework her special. She still slows everyone, but now she has a consistent stun. Instead of spending her charge, it instead increases her charge, allowing to juice up the ultimate. So I'm guessing this is going to feel somewhat like Cyclops. But anyways, so this is the special, right? Attack all targets for damage, apply slow, great. Apply stun to 2 turns to primary target, fine. Gains +5 up to maximum 20, and then when you do the ultimate, that's where everybody explodes. Character has Jean Grey ally on Crucible offense. This character has 3 or more Immortal X-Men allies or in raids. If this character has 3 or more Uncanny Avenger allies, do all the following: copy and clear all charges on enemies to self. That's great. I love that. That is great to get rid of charges, right? We're getting a lot of anti-charge characters, from Core and so on. Clear all positive effects on all enemies. Apply trauma. Wow. Trauma. This is going to be Crucible. Trauma. Gains extra focus. Unavoidable. Cannot be blocked or counterattacked. Boy, that's going to feel really good. It's going to feel really good. And then it looks like her ultimate's going to stay the same. You ramp her up to 20 charges and explode everybody with the stat increases. That should feel very impactful. Passive on turn, gain 3 charge up, maximum 20, gain speed up for 2 turns, speed up to her teammates. Tied to Uncanny Avengers now. On X-Men, X-Force, Uncanny Avengers ally turn, 50% chance to assist now. Herself, X-Men, X-Force, or Uncanny Avenger ally. So it's going to feel similar. This is probably one of the biggest changes as far as the reworks. I feel like the characters are just going to feel the same. But this right here is significantly different. So this is actually like new mechanics to Storm's special. Again, I think she's one of the ones to focus on. Storm, Beast, and Falcon, because they're going to be used in raids and the respective war offense or crucible. Team Beast, another one to focus on. Massive stat increases. Special, this is largely all the same. Clear 2 negative attacks from self and all allies. Apply heal block. If that's new. If this character has a Jean Grey ally, clear any additional effects from self and all Immortal X-Men and Uncanny Avengers. They're just adding the tags. Clear all vulnerable on self and all X-Men and Uncanny Avenger allies. It gains extra focus. And here we go. This is just filling it all in. I don't think this changes it too much. The passive, this is just the ultimate. The passive does have some changes, and we're going to read that. Devnos Beast had a mechanic wherein his passive to heal astonishing X-Men allies an additional amount on his turn if they were the most injured ally. Decided to remove that additional healing, instead make sure the healing felt powerful when we increase Beast's base health. And I remember this being somewhat punishing with Jubilee. I'm curious if there's going to be a way of sneaking Jubilee on any of these teams, because Jubilee's passive is pretty great. So this is what they're talking about. On turn, apply regeneration to the most injured ally. If that ally's an X-Men, heal that ally for 15% of this character's max health. Mighty Avenger character update. So this is Falcon. Falcon's going to be on 2 teams. Massive stat increases. They just cleaned this up right here so that it always happens, right? Rather than it just having this contingency. Again, not really changing the mechanics, just removing contingencies, which could be primary target has positive effects, or if it's tied to a game mode, or if it's tied to a certain team. They're not changing it that much, which makes their testing a lot easier. In raids, so this is a special that gives a turn meter. This was one of the best effects in the game and made Falcon plug and playable for a long time. And this is going to be a character focus. So this is the one where there's tons of turn meter. Yeah, Falcon was getting used just for this reason. In raids, character has complete team or the war complete team. Fill speed bar for self and Almighty Avenger allies by an additional 20%. So that's going to even feel better. Now, this is strange. His ability doesn't attack anybody, but it does clear stealth, and they making that clear. Unavoidable, cannot be blocked, right? I read this and I was like, his special doesn't attack, and it will not attack. It'll just be massive turn meter for the team, right? Ultimate, strafing round. Let's read this. Dev note. Originally, Falcon designed to punish positive effects on teams. This is handled by him having a relatively low damage base stat, but he had a lot of additional bonus attacks in his kit based on the number of positive effects on each enemy. While retuning Falcon, he was very inconsistent when fighting teams. Some teams he would demolish because they were stacked on positive effects, while other teams his ultimate would do little damage to teams without any positive effects. We've increased his base damage stat and reviewed the number of bonus attacks he did in his ultimate by increasing the initial attack. And after tuning his base damage value, his ultimate is still lethal, but will now feel better when teams have few positive effects. So this is a minor rework. Attack all enemies for damage plus piercing. Each positive effect on enemy bonus attack that enemy for piercing. In raids or war offense, apply bleed to all enemies. So his passive on spawn in raids, apply immunity self and all uncanny. And war offense, apply immunity to the respective team. Before this character takes a turn, this character, an Almighty Avenger and Uncanny Avengers cannot gain slow. That has proved to be pretty powerful. Characters that can do that. Specifically, I found that to be useful in Crucible. This is a war offense team. Fine. Visible Woman. This is just going to be in one game mode. Massive health. I believe her health is just going to be absolutely through the roof. Special Bending Light now will clear all negative effects from self and Mighty Avenger allies. Remember when having a cleanse like way back and being able to clear negative effects, and we had that. It was like only like a couple characters had that, and she was one of the first ones that did. mean, it was like her and like Squirrel Girl. Oh, we're going way back. Gain an assist for one random ally and another Mighty Avenger allies. Again, just expanding it to work on the new team. This is a little bit different. Attack the enemy with the most speed bar for piercing. War offense bonus. Attack that enemy for piercing. Apply stun to that enemy. So this is new right there. And then as far as the passive, wow. When enemy deals damage to this character, barrier, or allies barrier, attack that enemy for damage. On spawn, play defense up for 2 turns. Yourself and all allies on war offense. Bury yourself and all Mighty Avenger allies for 30% of this character's max health. On war offense, the first time this character running Mighty Avenger ally drops below 30% health, clear all negative effects on that character. Apply defense up itself to that character. Bury that character for 30% of this character's max health. Fine. Boy, it's been a long time since we've gotten some use out of Invisible Woman. Kind of felt bad that some of these old legendaries don't feel great. Now, what I do not know about Scarlet Witch is if this is going to change the Scarlet Witch that comes out of the Quicksilver. I forgot to ask. I don't think it'll change the stats on the Quicksilver Scarlet Witch, but I'm wondering if it'll make the kit better. But they're really not, I'll just read it. They're adding basically some more synergy with Vision. Gain assist from random visual ally. Add the random Vision ally. Chaos Wave right here. Vision ally. War offense. This character is 3 more Mighty Avengers. Reduce the duration defense up by 2. Again, they're just adding Vision. So it's really not going to be a thing. If this character has 3 or more mystic enemies, generate 1 ability energy for a random Vision ally. All right, Vision ally, Vision ally, Vision ally. Actually, I just answered my question. I mean, I guess if you wanted to place Vision with a Quicksilver team with Scarlet Witch, then there's going to be more synergy with the Scarlet Witch that spawns with the Quicksilver. I'm not sure if they're going to add the Vision ally text to that one, but if they did, I don't think it would change that much unless I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know if that would break anything or be interesting enough to do, but we'll have to see. Vision. All right. They're going to add like Scarlet Witch to a lot of his mechanics, right? War offense, Mighty Avenger. So like I said, they just basically make the kit the same. They boost the stats. They make the contingencies on their kits less restrictive and add the other teams to make it work. It's gonna feel very similar. Outside of Storm's special and maybe Falcon's ultimate, the teams are largely similar. All right. War offense. Scarlet Witch ally and 3 or more Mighty Avenger allies. Apply trauma and heal block to all support enemies. So this is pretty drastic right here on the ultimate. The ultimate also removes turn meter and clears positive effects. This was always very powerful, and I felt like Vision had pretty good kit. Just needed stats. Now he will have stats. War offense, apply 3 deflect to self and all Mighty Avenger allies. And then this right here is to just offset Polaris changes to her passive, which is going to make them stronger on an individual basis, but they're still largely going to be irrelevant because of the massive power creep and stat increases, which is also manifest in just the sheer craziness of numbers of base stat increases to go. And I'm sure this is just I wonder if they're moving his stat base speed 125. I don't know what that means. Holy moly. Is he just gonna get 125 extra speed, or are they gonna move it up to 125? Same thing, speed 123. Are they gonna just make it 123? We'll find out on the 19th. Yeah, I think they're just making it 124. Yeah, it can't be plus. It just should be, 122. That wouldn't make sense to have the team get like double speed. I don't think that would be right. So that's just stating what the speed's going to be. Anyways, this will be live on the 19th. And again, here are the uniques for the 2 new characters. Focus on Storm, Beast, and Falcon if you want don't want to do all 8. I think those 3 are going to best serve you. Bye for now.